Jai Hind. Today we will study about the respiration in plants. Already in the last video we have studied respiration in human being and respiration in amoeba, respiration in fishes. Like this, in so many organisms we have studied respiration. Okay, now we will study the respiration in plants. Okay, all right. So respiration in plants, you can see there leaves are having a stomata. Through that they will take the oxygen. Roots are having the root hairs. Through that they will take the oxygen. And the stem are having the lenticels, but the small plants which are having the soft stem, those are having the stomata itself only. But a big trees having a bark, there they are having the small pores. So through that they will take the oxygen. Totally they too are carrying the aerobic respiration only. Okay, all right, then let us see one by one. Just as we discussed, in the human being, a respiration is acting like a single unit. Why? Because we will take the air and we will pass it to the lungs. From the lungs it is passing to it is supplied to all the cells of the body. Whereas here in the plants, as I just discussed now, leaves, they will take air or oxygen through the stomata. Stems take the oxygen, or they will do the respiration process or a breathing process through the lenticels. Roots respire through the root hairs. Like this, three different parts, that leaves, leaves and stem and roots, they respire there itself only. That means respiration is divided in parts only. It is not the case in the human being, isn't it? Okay, so this one difference you can find. And we people, we require more energy because we are doing so much of work as compared to the plants. Okay, plants will not do much work as compared to the human being. That's why they need lesser energy. Understood? Okay, then. So let us study respiration in plants. First we will study the respiration in plants in roots part. Okay, you know that the roots are like this, and these are primary roots, secondary roots, tertiary root and root hairs. Okay, so root hairs. This is the soil. Here in between the soil there will be a gap. In that gap you are finding the oxygen. Right? In between the mud particles, in between the soil particles, there will be a gap. That gap is filled by oxygen, and this oxygen is this oxygen move into the root hairs. Why? Because the oxygen concentration is less in the root hair, it is more in the soil particles, a place between the soil particles. That is why the movement of molecules from higher concentration to the lower concentration is going on. That you call it as a diffusion. So by the diffusion process, root hairs gets the oxygen and supplies the oxygen to the other parts of the roots here. There they carry the cellular respiration, leave out the carbon dioxide, and that carbon dioxide will come out in the form of, or carbon dioxide only, in the diffusion form only, in the diffusion process only. Okay, like this the roots gets the oxygen for the aerobic respiration. Okay, next. Sir, what happens if the land plants, especially the roots, lagged into a water for a longer time, considerable time, then what happens? Plants are going to die. Why? Because water which is there, that will expel out this oxygen molecule by filling the water molecules in that space, that time root will not get the enough oxygen, and they started respiring anaerobically, produces ethyl alcohol, as we discussed in the human beings in the yeasts, right. So, like that they produces the ethanol or ethyl alcohol, that is a poisonous one to the plant, and they will die. Understood? So, this is how roots respire. Then come to the stem. If it is a soft stem, a small tree, then there is a soft stem. There you will see this this type of structures that we have already studied it, and this is called as stomata. Through this stomatal pore, the soft stem will respire and give out the carbon dioxide and water vapors also. But if you see, in the daytime, plants require more carbon dioxide for the photosynthesis process. You all know that. Why? Because photosynthesis process is going to take place in the daytime itself only, in the presence of sunlight. So, that require a raw material, that is carbon dioxide, which is obviously releasing in the respiration process as a waste gas, that is utilized by the plants itself only in the daytime. Please do remember this. So, in the daytime, very less amount of carbon dioxide, almost nil amount of carbon dioxide in the respiration process will come out through the stomata, it may be through the root hairs, because that carbon dioxide which is released in the respiration process is utilized by the plant itself for the photosynthesis process in the daytime. Okay? And in the daytime itself only, it will take, and it also releases the oxygen, you know that, in the photosynthesis process. So, that oxygen, whole oxygen will not be utilized by the plant, only less amount of, because as I told you, it requires a lesser energy, because it will not do much work as compared to the human being, isn't it? See, we will respire 12 to or 15 to 18 times per minute, our respiration rate if you count, whereas in the plant it is lesser than that. And in the daytime, as I told you, instead of giving out the carbon dioxide, it gives out the oxygen as a waste product. Why? You all know that already, we have studied it in the photosynthesis process. Okay, right. And in the big tree which are having the trunks or bark, there you can see this type of small pores, are present. Those pores, we call them are the lenticels. Through these lenticels, I am talking about a big tree, not the small tree which is having a soft stem, and the stem is also green in color. I am not talking about that plant right now. I am talking about a big tree, already grown up tree. So, how that will supplies the oxygen to the bark of the tree. So, simply they are having this type of pores in the bark. Those pores are called lenticels. So, through that, in the diffusion process only, they will supply the oxygen. Okay. In the daytime, as we just discussed, only oxygen will come out. In the night time, they will take the oxygen through these lenticels. Okay, right. So, next, this is what? Respiration in stem, respiration in roots, respiration in leaves. Okay. In the leaves, this is lower epidermis and upper epidermis, as we discussed in the photosynthesis. There we will find same like structure, stomata. through that stomata exchange of gases takes place. Okay, all right. So this is how respiration in plants takes place. Sir, what about the respiration in plants in the night time? So respiration in plants in night time, you know that time the photosynthesis will not take place. That time simply they intake the oxygen from the atmosphere and give out the carbon dioxide through these type of pores. That means it may be a stomata in the leaf, lenticels in the bark, root hairs in the root. Okay, all this process is having a diffusion process, means movement of molecules from their higher concentration to the lower concentration. In the daytime, even the oxygen is coming out from the plant to the atmosphere. That is because of oxygen is more in the plant because of the photosynthesis. That's why oxygen is coming out as a waste gas in the daytime. Of course, they will make use of oxygen what is released in the photosynthesis for the energy production, but all the oxygen which is released in the photosynthesis process are not utilized there, because as I told you, it requires lesser energy. The excess oxygen will come out as a waste gas. Understood? So, like this, a respiration takes place in the plants. Understood? This is a small video about the respiration in plants I wanted to tell you, and in the next video we will start with one more very important life process, that is transportation. Okay? So, up to that, all of you take care of yourself and please go through the book and see the videos also, and we will meet you one more time in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Jai Hind.